When you think about where modern business management comes from, data analytics, global supply chains, managing remote teams, you probably picture the 20th century, right? Maybe some factory floor or a mid-century office. But what if I told you the real blueprint was actually written over 600 years ago? It turns out the future of management was invented way, way in the past.
I mean, just look at these two. On the surface, they couldn't be more different. One's got instant communication, AI, the whole shebang. The other has a quill, a candle, and maybe a window. But the fundamental problems they're trying to solve, managing information, handling risk, leading people they can't see, they are shockingly similar. And the solution they came up with back then is still quietly running our world today.
So who were these original innovators? They weren't the titans of industry you read about in textbooks, and they definitely weren't Silicon Valley gurus. The real answer takes us back to the chaotic, high-stakes, and incredibly innovative world of Renaissance Italy.
Okay, so put yourself in their shoes. Imagine you're a merchant in Florence around the 1400s. Business is great. You're shipping English wool to the Middle East and bringing back exotic spices. But this very success creates a gigantic headache. You're trying to run a global company in a world where information literally moves at the speed of a horse.
Every single business venture was a massive gamble. A ship could get taken by pirates or just sink in a storm. A war could pop up out of nowhere. The agent you sent to Egypt, you might not hear from him for 3 months, and for all you know, he's making a total mess of things with your money. Without a new way to get a handle on all this chaos, your business would simply fall apart. This constant uncertainty forced their hand. They had to invent something truly revolutionary.
And that revolution wasn't a new kind of ship or a secret trade route. It was an information technology that was, for its time, as groundbreaking as the internet was for ours. Think of it as a system for seeing the health of your entire, complicated business all in one place. Kind of like a financial GPS in a world that didn't even have reliable maps. It was called double-entry bookkeeping. Now, the old way of doing things was just a list. Money in, money out. It was a chaotic mess, super easy to make mistakes. But this new way was so elegant. For every single transaction, you make 2 entries, a debit in one account and an equal balancing credit in another. All of a sudden, the books always had to balance. It was like magic. It gave you a clear, air-checked, and basically real-time picture of your financial reality.
And this system wasn't just about catching mistakes. This was a game changer. It let merchants figure out their profits with real accuracy, create the world's first true balance sheets, and actually take control of their finances. For the first time ever, a manager could just look at a ledger and know right then and there exactly where the business stood.
And this is the part that is so crucial. This wasn't just better accounting, it was a fundamental shift in how you even think about a business. It was the birth of data-driven decision-making. You weren't just writing down what happened in the past, you were using organized, reliable information to actively shape your future.
But a powerful tool is pretty useless if you don't have a powerful organization that knows how to use it. And these Renaissance merchants built business structures that, frankly, look a lot like the big multinational corporations we see today. I mean, just look at the Medici family. Their main bank was in Florence, sure, but they were running branch offices all over Europe and the Mediterranean, London, Bruges, Cairo. Each of these branches operated with a good bit of autonomy, sort of like a modern subsidiary, but they were all connected back to a central strategy in Florence.
And this brings up a question that probably sounds really familiar to a lot of us. How do you keep everybody on the same page? How do you make sure the quality is there? And how do you stop people from cheating you when a simple message to your London branch manager could take a month to get there?
When you look at it this way, the parallels are just wild. Managing agents by courier letter, that was their version of managing remote teams on Slack. Spreading your cargo across a few different ships so you don't lose everything if one sinks, that's literally the origin of building a resilient supply chain. Even the kinds of contracts they use for specific ventures laid the groundwork for how we structure venture capital deals and think about corporate governance today.
So, okay, what can we actually learn from these Renaissance pioneers? As managers or entrepreneurs, or even just as employees, what can we take away? Well, it turns out their solutions to these ancient problems offer some pretty timeless wisdom for how we work right now.
First thing, they proved that you absolutely cannot manage what you can't measure. Their double-entry books were designed to cut through the noise and chaos of global trade. So the question for us is, do our fancy data dashboards give us a clear, real-time signal, or are we just drowning in noise?
They also showed us that your company's structure has to follow your strategy.
Their whole network of semi-independent branches was specifically designed for the realities of long-distance trade. So you have to ask, does our company's org chart actually help us achieve our goals, or is it just kind of there because that's how it's always been?
They also figured out incentives. They pioneered these complex partnership agreements because when your agent is 1,000 miles away, you have to be 100% sure you're on the same team. We do the same thing with stock options and performance bonuses. But the question is still the same. Are our incentives truly getting us the behavior we actually want?
And finally, risk. It's so simple, but so important. A smart merchant would never, ever bet their entire fortune on a single ship. Are we thinking like that? Are we managing a balanced portfolio of bets, or are we dangerously exposed, with everything riding on one single point of failure?
So, what this all really shows is that the Renaissance wasn't just this explosion of amazing art and culture. It was also the birth of a new business mindset, one that was based on rationality, on hard data, and on being able to see the entire complex system all at once. That mindset is the absolute foundation of modern management.
So the next time you're checking your company's financial dashboard, or you're onboarding a new remote teammate, or talking about how to mitigate supply chain risks, just take a second. Think back to your predecessors from 600 years ago and ask yourself this: what part of my job today is still being shaped by their world?